Hi, everybody. Let's give it a second to start. Okay. I'm going to fix my hair. Sorry. All right. So today I wanted to go live and talk to you about custody. Just to kind of give an overview, whenever you're dealing with any kind of order regarding children, there's going to be 4 issues that are going to be dealt with in that order. Custody is what most people call it. The family code refers to it as conservatorship, and the order is going to say conservatorship. I'm going to use that term. So a lot of people come to me and they say, well, I want full custody. Well, I always have to go in and talk to them and go, okay, what do you mean by that? Because different people use it different ways. So that's one of the things that order is going to deal with. The other 3, and I'll talk about those in other videos, are possession and access or visitation, child support, and health insurance. And then if you're dealing with a divorce, you're going to add on to that a property division. So those are the different areas that a court order is going to deal with. So on custody or conservatorship, the starting point, as I like to call it, the presumption is that the 2 parties would be named joint managing conservators. Most of the time what that means is that you're going to have the same rights and duties as parents. So conservatorship is talking about your rights and duties as parents and what you have what decisions you have the ability to make. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be pretty much the same, except that one parent will have the right to decide where the children live and the right to receive child support. Those 2 rights are usually given exclusively to one parent over the other. And there can be a few variations on this. One variation is if you end up coming up with an agreement that is a 50-50 visitation where you're each possessing the children an equal amount of time. Most of the time that's a week on, week off. Then you can agree that neither party will be named as the primary managing conservator, so neither party will have the exclusive right to decide where the child lives, and the child's residence will be restricted to Brazos County in my case, most of the time, or one particular county. And so what that does is we say, all right, we're restricting the child's residence to Brazos County for the purposes of deciding where the child goes to school. Then each party gets the child 1 week here, 1 week there. That works actually pretty well here because we live in a small geographic area. And so if a parent lives in Bryan and one parent lives in College Station, then it's not difficult to get the child back and forth to school. And so that joint managing conservatorship with neither being primary happens probably more often here than it does in a big city like Dallas or Houston, where you're talking about trying to drive across town to get the child to school. So, so that's kind of an alternate version of joint managing conservatorship. The standard version is one parent, the child lives with one parent. They have the right to decide where the child lives, and then the other parent has some kind of a possession order. So, and again, I'll talk about the various possession orders in another video. The rights and duties. So a lot of people will come and they'll say, I want full custody. And I think they have in their minds that means that the other parent's not going to have any access to the child or any ability to make any decisions or anything. Well, and that's really not the case. Courts are not going to cut off even the worst parents, unless their rights are being terminated, are generally not going to get cut off from having any ability to do anything. Now, there are ways that we can limit that. And so in extreme cases, we can ask the court for some special things. But most of the time, most parents are going to have the ability to talk to the child's teachers, talk to the child's doctors, to go to school functions, to be informed about what's going on with the child. When you get into the other option for conservatorship is where one party is named the sole managing conservator and the other party is named the possessory conservator. Then you get down further into a list of rights, a right to make certain decisions. And that's usually the ones that people are concerned about if they're talking about wanting full custody. And so there, what you're talking about is the ability to make non-emergency invasive medical decisions. So if a child needs some non-emergency surgery, like knee surgery, are you asking that other parent not be able to make that decision? The ability to consent to psychiatric and psychological treatment, so to put the child into counseling. The ability to make educational decisions, the ability to make legal decisions, those types of decisions. And there's a whole list that I go through with my clients where we talk through if someone's wanting to try to restrict the other parent, and there may be good reason to do that, then we go through that list. 9 times out of 10, whenever I go through that list with them, they realize that those really aren't the issues that they're concerned about. Most commonly, the issues are really more about possession. Now, let's talk about some things you can't do. So, for example, parents have the ability or the right to make reasonable decisions concerning discipline and religious education. So people will sometimes want to restrict and say, well, the other parent can't physically discipline the child. Well, they can. Assuming that they are a reasonable person and you don't have issues, and we're just talking about 2 pretty good people who, don't get along anymore in their relationship, and so now they're co-parenting, unless you have some evidence that parent is abusive, they're going to have the ability to parent how they choose to parent. And that can be really difficult when you're not on the same team anymore and you realize that we don't parent the same way. And that's the challenge of co-parenting with someone, is accepting the fact that you don't parent the same way doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. And you've got this child going back and forth between 2 households, and so you have to try to figure out how to work with that other person for the best interest of your child. The other issue that comes up with that I alluded to just a second ago was religion. So it's, again, not uncommon that someone will say, well, when we got together, we agreed that we would only go to this particular church. And now we're not together anymore, and I don't want them to take the child to this other church that they grew up in. And by church, I mean like a different denomination or a different type of religion. And really, you don't have the right to restrict that. Once you have parents in 2 separate households, they each get to decide when they have the child in their care, where are they going to take the child? Are they going to go, to the synagogue or the church or the Catholic church or the Baptist church? Whatever their decision is, they have the right to make that decision. So, again, that's just some general information about conservatorship. As I've said before, everybody's situation is different, so I would encourage you to talk to an attorney about your particular situation if you have questions. If you have other questions you want me to address, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to get notice when I go live, be sure and like my page, and it'll send you a notice. It should send you a notice when I go live. I will try to put out a notice on the page whenever I'm going to go live in a little bit. It just depends on my schedule. Sometimes I'm able to do that, and sometimes I'm not. So, again, thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions, and y'all have a great day. Thanks. Bye.